We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 351. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Also joining us this week, the undisputed scholar himself, Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you doing this evening, sir? Yes, as
resulting from this week, resulting from the end of last week after we recorded to this entire week.
Oh yeah, we are all in mourning this week, as you can tell by the cornucopia of black t-shirts. We aren't just wrestling fans who are 90s kids. We are in mourning, in fact, hence all the black t-shirts. But moving on from that, also in a black t-shirt, joining us this week is the one only Mr. Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, how's your evening going, sir? Oh, I'm sorry. And this current reigning and defending Scholars of Wrestling party champion, Scholar Charlie. Is that better, fool?
That is very better. Acknowledge the two Charles on screen right now.
The two Charles.
Because remember, the party belt's name is Charles.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I'm carrying it. I'm sorry. I didn't know your name.
The Crimson Chin named Charles
okay.
Indigo.
all the lost title belt lore going out over here.
The Crimson Belt.
And also joining us this week, our friend of the show, our friend Jeremy. Jaybird, how's it going tonight, sir?
I wish you told me it was supposed to be a black shirt affair. I would have worn a black shirt, but wow, in shock from this week. Yet I still have a lot of. I'm sad, but like I have a lot of hope on the rise, which is going to happen down the end of about 3/4 of this month. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and with that, again, I'm sure everyone at this point has seen the news, and you've read the title of this video. So let's dive right into it and hopefully inject a little tiny dose of optimism with all the news from this week in a segment we call Backstage News.
I really can't think of any segue into this backstage news. It's depressing, man. There's nothing really
backstage news.
It sucks, dude.
It's not a news type of backstage news time. All
right. Well, fair enough. To be fair, yes, just to say it formally on the show, this was the week that Bray Wyatt was released from WWE on a Saturday, the day after we recorded and posted our last episode. We got the news that Bray Wyatt was released, and that just began the week. Then we got so many other releases. We got Ric Flair being released. We've got all this pandemonium following up with finally just this evening, right? Not even hours before we went on to start recording this episode, we were informed that a multitude of people from NXT were released, including Bronson Reed and Mercedes Martinez, which was shocking in and of itself. But again, we are in mourning because so many of us, myself included, Bray Wyatt was the linchpin of everything I enjoyed with WWE. He was like the thing that kept me coming back more so than anybody else. And I'll be honest, part of me still feels like I feel like I'm still processing this. Like, what do you make of this? Like, I'm at a loss for words.
Who wants to go first on this one?
You fire away, Yowie Wowie boy.
When I heard the news about it, it didn't hit me as hard as it would have been maybe a few months ago around the time after his last match at WrestleMania, and after that one promo on the Raw after. And all this time that he's been gone, it was actually reaching that point when once the news with Braun Strowman hit, and I'm just thinking it's just a matter of time now. If Bray's not coming back by SummerSlam, I think he's gonna be gone. But with the word is that they were actually advertising his return in August, it's pretty much an Aleister Black situation all over again. Planning something big for this guy, especially someone who is one of your top selling merchandise machines, and you just let him go. And the more it came out, the more it was revealed that this was more of a Nick Khan call more than anyone. And it really just like, there are most people who are saying this, and I'm one of these people who are in line with this. I don't think Nick Khan actually watches the product. He's just a behind the scenes guy, and he just looks at certain aspects on where the money is and just think, is this something we can cut? And with knowing Bray Wyatt hasn't been on TV for a while, that's just another one of those things that could save them money, which it's still mind-boggling considering how great WWE is doing money-wise. So this plus Ric Flair plus all the NXT names that were released that was announced by Sean Ross Sapp just less than an hour ago. It's just mind-boggling. It is now, you can, with all the people that have been released in WWE in 2021, you can make your own wrestling company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really mind-boggling, and it really brings back the question: is Vince McMahon actually considering selling WWE? Is this just more moves on him preparing to sell the company?
I've thought of that for a long time.
And yeah, that's really all I got to say. The Ric Flair one actually kind of made me laugh because I hear so many different stories on that one. Just like him getting into messaging Vince himself and them arguing about where Charlotte's character is at the time, or just creative decisions, specifically him sleeping with Lacey Evans storyline. There's just so many factors. And it's just like, you know what? Ric Flair doesn't need WWE. He can do perfectly fine on his own with how he put his wine and all. Just he's gonna be okay. The NXT names, I'm just really just.
Well, you say he's gonna be okay, but then a rumor also started going around that he was divorcing his current wife and getting ready to marry another one. Like,
really? That's actually news to me. I did not know that.
Well, it's not news. To be fair, it's just another rumor that sprang up. It's like the floodgates were just open.
That's the case.
I'm sorry, Charlie. Say again.
I'd stay away from marrying another one if I was Flair.
He'll just go back to riding Space Mountain every other month.
I don't want to hear about Space Mountain. No.
It doesn't exist. It's not there anymore.
Something oldest ride, longest line.
Yeah.
Woo something.
I love that. I love Space Mountain.
I bet you do. But yeah, just bring us down through the whole Bray Wyatt scenario. Charlie, let me pitch over to you. What do you make of this whole Bray Wyatt situation?
I was super shocked when it happened. I was in Pennsylvania visiting family, and I just got out of lunch and looked at my phone. And first I had text messages from people about it. And then I'm like, no, there's no way this could be true, as I'm sure everyone's initial reaction was. And then I checked the website, and it was on there. Bray Wyatt just released. Like I told you guys before we started filming, I was at the pool earlier with my dad, and he watches on and off. And I told him that Bray Wyatt got released, and his jaw dropped. He's like, "Isn't he like one of the biggest money makers and like creative wrestlers that WWE has. I'm like, exactly. I found it really shitty that before Bray even got home and unpacked his bags, JoJo was quietly released. It's like double whammy there. Then Flair was, it didn't, like Tarek said, it didn't hit me as bad as Bray Wyatt did. It's just really, have you guys seen those commercials that Ric Flair has been in lately?
Car
yes,
Shield
they're
Woo.
awesome.
Car Shield, it's so depressing seeing him grasp. Oh my God, it's just so depressing seeing him in that state. But I guess we'll see even more of those, and hopefully this thing about another wife isn't true, because that's just not his. He just should just stay away from marriage and divorce courts altogether. What else is there? The NXT releases from earlier tonight. Bronson Reed. Who would think that? Bronson Reed just got off being North American champion, and wow.
Hey, considering how off I've been this week alone in terms of release predictions, I've got no right to predict anything at this
And
point.
who was one of who? I can't think
Just
of the guy.
release predictions, Jeff. Oh,
Yeah, just release
Who digs there?
predictions.
I can't think of the
Just
guy.
that.
Just
But
them.
he
Shut up,
had a-
Tarek.
He had a manager, and it seemed as if he was being groomed to be something. Long hair. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he was on the list that you guys sent of releases, and he was another one that I couldn't believe got released.
Ari Sterling or something? I could be mistaken.
No.
No, those are the guys. That was when everyone was like, "Who?"
Yeah.
That cracked me up. I will
Kona
say.
Reeves, Jake
No,
Atlas,
Conor Reeves, asshole in a jacket.
Leon Ruff.
No,
he
I'm wrong.
retired.
The guy after
No,
Leon.
no, that's Leo Rush.
Rough Rush. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I don't know.
Bobby Fish.
No,
No, that pissed me off.
I know Bobby Fish. That one surprised me. That I think between him and Bronson Reed were the two big shockers there, and Mercedes.
I thought that's what you were going for. It's like,
Yeah.
what other name shocked me? It's like,
Nah. Jeremy,
Yes.
how about you?
So it was an interesting week. So my wife and I were shopping at the mall on Saturday, and I was flipping through Twitter, and all of a sudden I see Bray Wyatt's released. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you joking me? And she was in shock. She's like, what? Like, to quote Randy Orton, WWE, you're stupid. You're stupid.
you can't be quoting Randy Orton. He's another one of the Bray's one of the other names that got fired after having something with Randy Orton.
Yeah, but no, it's
and
just-
Ric Flair.
But no, they're stupid. They're letting people go. And I'm telling you, you let big names like Bray Wyatt, like Ric Flair, I'm going to say it, Adam Cole is probably going to leave WWE after.
He's going to leave on his own terms.
But if he leaves, he's going to go to AEW and
Of
he's
course.
going to clean house. You're dumb. You're giving the competition everything they want. I'm calling it now. Halloween. Give Bray Wyatt a new name, a new mask, whatever. He'll show up, team him up with Darby Allin, team up with Abaddon, team up with the Dark Order, and he'll come in and he'll just blow the ratings out of the water for AEW. You're dumb. Why would you let your biggest merchandising person go? Like, I'm not the smartest business person, and I know, okay, keep him on lock and key. I'm not the biggest Bray Wyatt fan, but I was not happy at Mania when he lost to Orton. I was furious when they let him go. I'm like, WWE, you have to think. You like, okay, we partnered with Peacock. Okay, there could be a sinking ship, but guys, you're not smart. Listen, I watch when it comes down to like the pay-per-views. Other than that, I watch the results, but I watch AEW and they are killing it right now. They are killing it in every Dark, Elevation, Rampage. They're going to kill it August 20th. They're going to kill it every week with all these big names. You know why? because they bring in names like Christian Cage, like Chris Jericho, they bring in all these big WWE guys, but they don't shove a face. They put them to the back row. Yet, and now you have like Kenny Omega, have like Sammy Guevara, you have all these big non-WWE names, which they're pushing to the front. They're doing it the right way. You can bring in names. You bring in Bray Wyatt as a back person, build up that character as the unstoppable force. Shit, I'm sorry. Christmas, put Bray Wyatt as a new character against Aleister Black or Malachi Black. There's your friggin' match. That's what I want to see. I'm sorry, but it's been aggravating me all week that like WWE is so stupid and you have so many good matches set up for AEW to where you just gave, like, I watch hockey. When you give a player away and picks in the draft, you sold the horse in the cart. Come on, guys, you have to think about this. Sorry, that's my rant. I apologize, but I've just been I've been aggravated all week, and that is my frustration ended. But go ahead, gentlemen.
Well, you know what? I think it was probably you that brought up the one possibility that other people have been pointing it to in terms of an explanation for all this, these odd calls. That the one that I feel is the more likely scenario that may happen is that as yourself and others people have speculated, they could be gearing WWE up for selling.
I could see it.
Tarek, Charlie, I know you've heard this too. Any speculation or response to these thoughts of a possible sale for WWE?
I'm certainly not going to believe the main reason that they're going under budget cuts right now, because you can't make the deals that they made in the last year be under budget. And I just don't buy that. That's just silly to me.
Yeah. To clarify this, that's part of the point, because that whole idea that they're tight budget cuts and budget tightening, they are the purpose of a secondary purpose of that. People are speculating is that by doing this, by cutting costs so much, they are making the company, because of the money that they're bringing in, they're making the money more attractive to they're making the company more attractive to potential buyers.
But who are they going to have left by the time it's attractive to potential buyers?
People, well, they don't even care about that. We're thinking of that as fans.
Yeah.
But if you're a parent company like an NBC, you're probably just thinking in terms of just like who can of how is revenue going to be maximized? How are your investors going to be satisfied with what they're bringing in? Like we were talking about earlier, Nick Khan probably does not care about wrestling at all. He only cares about improving revenues, moving big numbers around, and then moving on to the next company where they'll do it all over again with whatever their assets are.
Yeah.
All I wanted to say, good, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go.
I was going to say was I read an article back in June, which I have on my phone now, that from a WWE writer on Wrestling Inc. She got hired and she said, okay, you're welcome to join WWE. You don't have to know anything about wrestling. And I'm like, you're going to hire a fresh out of college writer who's going to be like, okay, what's the storyline? I don't know anything about wrestling. Congratulations, you're hired.
Well, we actually talked about that person before.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry.
Who didn't even know Bobby Lashley's name. So
my bad.
Yeah, that's just
right.
That's just adding. Yeah, that's still one of the big things on WWE's part this year. Just
Kenneth Mobley. That's who I was looking at. But
Yeah,
I saw. I thought it'd be good to talk about that.
It's something I've said on this show many times. It's just getting hard from someone who's been a WWE fan pretty much my entire wrestling fandom. It is just impossible now to find a reason to defend the company on just all the stuff that they've been doing this year in particular. I just can't. I can't defend it anymore, and it's honestly pushing me away as a fan. Where I just look at the product that they're giving me, and I just ask, why do I care?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that WWE's been having problems with for, honestly, at this point, decades, with the dropping of fan ratings and just constant criticisms that it's just been the story of WWE for a long time, of just terrible creative, terrible booking on the wrestling mat, on particularly the finishing of matches. I mean, hell, just after watching Raw, mainly I want to see the Chicago crowd tear this product to pieces. Yeah, it's just been roll-ups, DQ finishes,
Yep.
constant.
Can't watch.
To the point where it's people, I just ask, like, okay, who's actually looking strong like at this? And with this like past week in particular, the people who won this show were people on the losing end on last week's show. So pretty much whoever won last week lost this week. So, and vice versa. So nobody looks good. Absolutely no one looks good on any form of these on this product, which brings up something that John Cena has said in an interview this past week on, he wished he could find the fountain of youth, because at this point, once I reach that point where I'm 60, what is WWE going to do? Because they can't bring me back to be a nostalgia act. They can't bring back most people to bring as a nostalgia act. And once Cena is at that point, who are you going to have? Because you're not making stars in this product other than Roman Reigns.
They're not pushing young talent.
And it's back to square one. And it's pretty much back to square one. All the progress that Roman Reigns made this past year on just my praise is actually taking like 10 steps back, because I'm back to the point where, okay, you're booking him in the heel aspect of how he's been booked for the past few years. So again, now, why do I care about any of his feuds where it's just basically come to make him look like the top dog?
Yeah, suppose there's really not much you can really do beyond that point, which again is leading a bunch of people to really consider, like, what in the world is going on? To me, it's this release in particular has just made me feel really sad. Like, again, I know we've talked about it off of recording days, but my wife and I were really looking forward to planning a whole big trip around one of the big shows, either Survivor Series or maybe Royal Rumble. We'd be wanting to fly out for that one. But really, with the way things are going, not only is Bray Wyatt gone, supposedly, but there's really nobody left that really catches my attention the same way. Oh, sure, there's an off chance that maybe Lacey Evans will be back, but really at this point, who else is left that hasn't already come back? I got Keith Lee back, but then again, he's just sort of going back and forth.
Don't get me started on Keith Lee. Don't get me started on Keith.
That speaks for itself. Thank you.
I honestly would argue Finn Balor, but
he got shot by Cena. Are you kidding me?
Looking how just this past week, or just this past episode of SmackDown that ended half an hour ago, he's being looked at as like, looks like he's being pushed to being a top babyface on SmackDown. But when you actually are booking him looking strong, taking out both Usos, and you still have the crowd chanting for Cena, someone who's not going to be here after next week or after SummerSlam. So it's just, why are you putting so much faith in basically someone who is busy with making his name bigger in movies, and someone who is over 50 years old and can't be doing this forever? In Goldberg. Yep. Honestly, I would actually look forward to Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee if they booked him right for SummerSlam. But of course, they have to make Lashley look strong just so he can face a 54-year-old man.
They have to make Lee look strong because he doesn't do anything. I'm sorry, he doesn't.
Well, there is one other thing that have sort of gotten people's attention when it comes to the whole Bray Wyatt situation, at the very least. Uh, People have speculated, they've gone over his last promo since WrestleMania,
Yep.
the day after, and they've talked about how he's almost looking at what he said and how he said it. It almost seemed like he was hinting that, okay, something new is coming. There's something new starting, a new season, a new me. You didn't see that one coming. It almost like he's hinting at something. He may be hinting at a release or maybe something else, which is leading people to just speculate wildly. And this is the only sort of public statement that Bray Wyatt has made and on anything so far. And not to mention, he hasn't changed any of his social media handles.
Cult of Wyndham.
Well-
He put that on his Instagram.
That was
That's true.
supposedly some other project that didn't quite work out. Because I did think of that too. And on his Instagram, he talked about that in greater detail. But there's something that's not, even if the release is legit, there's just so much that's so off and weird about this whole situation. Stuff that just doesn't seem right. That it's kind of making me wondering,
It's-
okay, is this, I feel like honestly, there's a remote chance, like maybe a 2% chance that, given what we know of Wyndham Rotunda's talent and acumen and ability to think outside the box and present something new and interesting, I'm wondering, could there be like a 2% chance that this is all work?
No, if like Jeff, I Jeff, I'm a huge fan of yours and everything, but I'm sorry. I like Bray Wyatt, but he's the most poorest book character in the entire WWE history. They freaking brought this character and threw him right in the toilet the first chance they got. I'm sorry. They like I like the Fiend. I like his cat. I love the Wyatt family, but just they booked him so bad. He jobbed to like Cena and Mania. He lost to Orton. Come on, if you're gonna build up a major moneymaker, you like okay, you have to like okay, he loses to Cena, he wins, and then they do the rubber match. Instead, it was like okay, he loses, next feud. They booked him so poorly. I'm like, you have this gold mine, you have the golden goose, and you sold it.
Mhm.
It's stupid. That's why I've been saying since the beginning of this episode. It's stupid what they're doing.
Hmm.
Like I'm telling you, if AEW knows what they're doing, they will set everything up perfectly. They'll set him up, and I'm gonna call it. Bray Wyatt will be a main name in AEW. Calling it out.
Yeah, if this is all legit, if you're Tony Khan, Bray Wyatt is just, I would be on the phone with him within the hour. And then even if, again, the one problem that AEW ran into, some people are upset about the last rap that Max Caster did. If
I don't like Max Caster. He's an asshole. Anyway.
Either way, I personally like the Acclaimed, but then again, if you were to release both of them in order to get Bray Wyatt, like
that's stupid.
Easy call. Easy.
Like I said, if I called it on our messages, it's a 3 months no compete clause. Halloween, you bring a new Fiend character-esque in with Bray Wyatt, you hint it perfectly, boom, there you go. You hint it perfectly, you set the vignette, you get everything going, you drop them early, mid-October, boom, there you go, and there's your Halloween-esque setup for AEW, and you build them towards the end of the year.
I wouldn't even throw Fiend-esque anything in there. It'd just be I just would think of him as a brand new character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Any history from what he did in WWE.
Just give him a new character, man. I agree with that. Just have him come in, do what he has to do, and just let him shine.
Yeah. Well, in terms of just everything that's going on, just all the bizarre happenings, there's, again, I don't know about the rest of you, but this is one of those things where it really did feel like a funeral to me, where I feel like something was genuinely lost.
I agree.
I'm aware that some people definitely have that feeling that WWE has been done. They've been done with WWE for quite a while at this point, and at this point, I finally hit my limit. Like I feel like a part of me just like for me, it's like the magic is dead. Like you go to a kid's birthday party with a magician, and then he teaches you how all the magic tricks work without showing you anything new, and it's just sort of like, oh, just it's like the world is in black and white.
Sorry, go ahead.
Charlie, fire away.
Whenever I find myself losing fandom like this, I think back that I watched and stayed through the Great Khali era in 2007, and I was watching Raw then and SmackDown and all of that. But then I realized now I'm not even watching Raw anymore. So in a sense, I guess this is worse than the Great Khali era.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm watching AEW and I'm watching SmackDown, and that's pretty much it for me. And always I feel fulfilled watching AEW. But SmackDown, I'd like to think it's more hit than miss. But occasionally there's those miss episodes.
Well, all that being said, there's really only one other question on my mind at this point, and that is for the wrestling industry as a whole. Obviously, this is a time of great upheaval for the professional wrestling industry as a whole. We got an influx of people who are supposedly coming in to AEW. WWE is jettisoning off all this talent, possibly for a sale in the future. My question to you guys is, and it's just not a quick talk by any stretch of the imagination, what is the way forward for the professional wrestling industry? What are your predictions as far as what will happen in the industry, whether it has to do with any individual company as a whole or just the landscape in general? Are we seeing the rise of a new territory system? Any number of things. What does the view of professional wrestling look like going forward?
If Tony Khan keeps playing chess like this, I see him overruling WWE, and maybe not on how much money they're making, but talent-wise. And if WWE keeps going in this direction, you're going to have more wrestlers requesting their release than getting it.
Tarek and Jaybird, which one? Who wants to step in first? What is the future of the professional wrestling industry?
Honestly, I don't care.
Oh, geez.
It's right now it's kind of been the story of my wrestling fandom this year. I just don't care anymore. I can't even find myself watching anything.
Not even AEW?
Nothing. I don't know. It made me not want to watch anything anymore.
Shit.
Wow.
And you, Jaybird?
I haven't had cable in about 3 years, and just God bless AEW for putting YouTube channels out and then just watching the reviews. But like, I've seen the reviews of like how bad the shows are getting, and just wherever I hate to say it, I can't picture WWE stepping off that pedestal and then having AEW take that next big step, maybe 5 to 7 years down the road. But for me, it's like, look, I watch a lot of stuff. I watch AEW, I watch WWE here and there, I watch Ring of Honor, I watch Game Change Wrestling. I watch a lot of stuff just because I work from home and I just keep myself busy, and I watch a lot of different matches, and just I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Personally, I do. Okay, WWE might be in the toilet with storyline telling, but love AEW. Ring of Honor's coming back. They're actually starting to put a lot of good stories together. Game Change I just got into. So I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Wherever it's going to go, whatever it is, who's going to be the next big dog in the yard, WWE, AEW, whatever the next thing is, I'm happy where we are, even though like WWE's making a lot of stupid moves.
All right. as you guys were talking, I just got one other thought in my mind. It's a bit more of an optimistic one. It's more of
From you, Jeff?
Yes.
You don't say.
Big shock. Yeah. But I'm just wondering, like, we're talking about what this future is. How about before we go, let's talk about a moment about what we want the future to be. Like, yeah, we can talk about how all the day about how things are going wrong and all the doom and gloom that goes with it. But I've got to wonder, what if you've got the pencil and you've got like fate in your hands? I'm wondering what you in particular would like to see that would really capture your interest again. And for me, I would say with WWE, loosen up the reins a little bit. Don't have quite so many writers. Let's reinvigorate and re-embrace people being able to write for themselves and cut their own promos, not so heavily scripted. And everyone else, I think AEW is going to be the next big competitor. It's obviously going to take some time. They haven't been around for that long, but they've certainly made quite an impression in the time that they've got. But I think that AEW is going to lead the charge of change in the professional wrestling industry. Lord willing, WWE's creative process and corporate structure will improve. And I think we're going to see the trend that we're seeing is going to continue, and a lot more wrestling companies are going to have an online presence. And this is probably going to be my boldest prediction. I'm thinking that a pre-existing brand between all other non-mainstream brands like WWE, a site like Pro Wrestling Tees is going to launch its own streaming service within the next 10 years. I'm gonna be bold and pitch it over to you. If you're gonna get your interest back in professional wrestling, what would you personally like to see?
This is something I need to think about. I honestly can't think of something off the top of my head. Wrestling needs to do something a lot to get me interested again. Because I'm now reaching that point where I just want to look at other things in my life that actually mean more to me, that actually catch more of my interest than wrestling right now. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm legit feeling right now. Of all the things that I just look at in my life, wrestling is not one of them. Good or bad. It's just because I'm not taking anything away from AEW. I know they're doing great because I'm still listening to reviews of Dynamite. I still just listen to I read some news articles like from Fightful and Wrestle Talk and all that. And I'm just happy. I am happy for them. I'm happy that they're growing, that they're pretty much combining the rest of the wrestling world. The perfect example is that one meme of just all these other wrestling companies holding hands and dancing along, and then you look at WWE punching pretty much its brother NXT in the face, and that's just pretty much the perfect. That is the wrestling world right now, and right now there's just nothing. There's really nothing more that can really I honestly don't know what they can do to reignite that spark in me. I don't know.
Charlie or Jeremy, do you have any sort of concrete idea of what they could do to really win your confidence back?
First, Charlie, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tark, I'm at a different point because like I said, I don't watch wrestling as much as everyone else does, but for me, it's like, I kid you not, you go about 21 years ago, WrestleMania 2000, I drew a line in the sand. I was not happy at the end of WrestleMania 2000. I was pissed at the end of that pay-per-view. I took about 2 or 3 years off and I got back into it, and I've been on and off the last 20 odd years. And it's just like, okay, I can be in wrestling and I'm like, okay, you're doing good, you're doing bad. But just for me, I'm like, okay, I see how it is. I've seen the ups and downs. So right now, I like where wrestling is right now. Like, you can be like, okay, you have WWE, you have AEW, you have Ring of Honor, you have all these other promotions. You can pick what you want to watch. And I'm just excited just to for me, I'm not the type of fan where it's like, okay, what's the next big thing? What's the next big story? I'm like, I just want to see what happens in the next match. I'm just right now, like I'm I'm like the oldest of our group. I still get that kitty excitement of what's gonna happen in his next big match. What's gonna happen on Dark? What's gonna happen? Let me just show the quality. Give me a good quality wrestling match. That's all I care about. I don't even care about what the main story is for down the road, the pay-per-views. Just give me a good quality match and let's just see where the future goes. I just take it one match at a time. That's just how I am right now, and I'm happy where I am. So.
And last but certainly not least, Charlie, what is your wish list? What do you want? What would you like to see happen in the wrestling world going forward?
I'm going to try to give this as optimistic of a spin as I possibly can. Hopefully, as far as WWE goes, because AEW right now I feel is on the right path. I don't think anything needs to be tweaked or adjusted for them to succeed. As far as WWE goes, hopefully they keep these releases up, as horrible as that sounds, to a point that maybe you can focus on all the talent that you have and give each wrestler enough TV time, more so on the Raw end than the SmackDown end. But I feel Tarek's pain. I definitely feel Tarek's pain because I've been there before, and it's like no matter what, nothing can make me care for wrestling because it's reached this inevitable black hole in your mind. But I don't know. NXT, I feel even has a lot of work to do. It doesn't feel like where it was a year ago. I feel like they're playing hot potato with the world title. I feel like there's not enough focus on the lower card feuds. I just feel that they need to find their footing again. WWE, for the love of God, bring back King of the Ring.
Well, they're bringing in Queen of the Ring.
I know, and that.
Who are we kidding? They're probably going to give it to Charlotte.
Of course.
Fuck that.
Well, if she doesn't leave, right? Because she apparently requested her release when her father was let go. So
did Alexa Bliss with Bray, but
yeah.
They're not going to let them go.
No.
Oh boy. Well, that with that one on that happy, delightful note, there's today is full of optimism and joy. I'll tell you what. But you know what?
Sarcasm.
But you know what? That's just part of the ebb and flow of any entertainment industry. Sorry to say. But thankfully, the final chapters have not yet been written, and the story goes on, just like so many other things in wrestling. But now we've heard what we think. Now is where we pitch it over to you, our fellow wrestling connoisseurs, devourers, consumers, and oftentimes detractors. How caught off guard were you by this news from Bray Wyatt? Do you believe it? Is this a sign of the beginning of the end for WWE, or is this a hint as far as what's to come for the entire industry as a whole? No matter what you think or how you think it, we want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet, Facebook posts, YouTube comments, and our personal favorite, the Twitter machine, starting at Scholars OW. Follow us there for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And you can also check us out on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can I reach you?
You can reach me at the Avatar.
Charlie, where can I reach you?
You can reach me at Charlene.
And Jaybird, where can we reach you?
Hero Huey 316.
And you can catch me still being optimistic about the future of the industry at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. Hopefully we'll do some live tweeting sooner rather than later, even if we're a little snarky. But that's to be expected, because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
Welcome.
See you all at whatever happens next.